Welcome to the Sober Biz Podcast, the show for the bold, the brilliant, and the booze-free. Here we talk about building meaningful booze-free businesses, turning your mess into your message, and showing up even when you feel like an imposter. This is no fluff and no filters, honest conversations for alcohol-free entrepreneurs who want to make an impact. If you've been on an alcohol-free journey for a while, or if you're just starting out, you've probably already noticed that sobriety changes everything. You have probably already noticed a difference in your relationships, in your health, and in your mood. But what about in business? Today, I am breaking down why I believe that sobriety is the number one building block to better business. We're going to talk about the clarity and focus you gain when you go alcohol-free, the resilience that you build on your journey that makes you an unstoppable entrepreneur, and how living in alignment with your core values creates stronger connections and more opportunities. Okay, let's dive in. First, we got to talk about the clarity and the focus. I know for me, before I started an alcohol-free journey, mine is full-on recovery. I had to give up alcohol. I didn't just do it because I wanted to better my health. It was like necessary. But before I did that, I thought I needed alcohol in order to connect, in order to really be myself, in order to have fun, in order to put myself out there and be brave. I thought I needed alcohol, but all it was actually giving me was brain fog, fatigue, anxiety, hangovers. I was showing up late or not showing up at all to work. I didn't get anywhere in my job because I put alcohol in my body. In fact, I lost a really awesome job that I had because of a hangover. Once I took alcohol out of my system, once I decided to put the bottle down and to start working on myself, everything changed. I had more clarity, more confidence. It took time. It definitely took time to build, but right away, I felt myself showing up more present, more real, more honest, more vulnerable. Even when I was struggling with anxiety, even when I was struggling with my past and shame and guilt and everything, I was still bringing more of me into the workplace. And as I grew in my recovery, as I grew in my sober journey, everything started to change. People started to respect me more, look up to me, ask me questions about what I'm doing. How did I change? How am I getting more healthy? How am I just more of a light in the room? What am I doing differently? And I started getting to share the fact that I stopped drinking. It was noticeable. My laughs were more authentic, deeper, right from the gut. I felt more deeply. I created more deeply. I showed up more deeply in conversations, and the clarity and mental focus I have immediately improved. I lived so long in my adult life without realizing I had ADHD and had no idea that alcohol was like burning my dopamine receptors. It was destroying my ability to focus and concentrate. And I'd love to say that I got sober and all of that changed and I never let anyone down again, but it's not true. I did. And also I was able to make amends for that. I was able to admit my faults and say, shoot, I screwed up. I'm so sorry. This is not who I want to be. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to figure out how this happened so that it never happens again. And then I would sit down and figure it out. And sometimes the answer was, this is not for me. My brain doesn't do homework. It just doesn't. So I need to hire out to get someone to finish these projects for me because I am the creative. I like the design work. I like coming up with the concept, putting it all together and showing what is possible for my clients. And then I can do it all myself, but it's so much harder. It's 100 times harder for me to show up and do all of that work on my own than it is to hire somebody, give another opportunity to another person that's sober in business and work as a team to build something absolutely incredible that I know I can deliver on time. I didn't get that when I was drinking. Hell, I didn't even get that when I first started my business. That took a lot of work to get to this point. And I am just starting to realize these things. So if you're not there yet, totally understandable. But this journey doesn't happen. I don't get to this place and I don't get to actually have the tools to look at myself without my journey in recovery. I also had to learn about my energy levels, my energy cycles. As an ADHD entrepreneur, it is absolutely imperative that I know, when am I at my best? When am I at my worst? When do I need to shut the laptop and walk away and take care of myself in a day? Because it's very easy to let business be my new booze, you know? So my clarity tip for you in business is to start tracking when you feel your best. What time of day works best for you? When can you show up as your most empowered, most energized self? And start building a life, a routine, a schedule around when your energy is optimized and when you feel your best, when you have the most clarity and focus. And then we're going to sit down and like look at a calendar and say, okay, this is how I could optimally design my work life to show up with the most amount of clarity and confidence in the work that I do. If you're using alcohol to numb out, you don't get to see these parts of you that need healing, that need to be looked at so that you can be that version of yourself that you want to be in your business. The second thing I want to talk about is probably the biggest reason I see so many people in recovery becoming entrepreneurs and finding wild success. And that is because we are a resilient and resourceful bunch of people. I was going to swear there, but I'm not going to because then I have to put an age restriction on this. We are so resilient. Whatever the reason you put down alcohol is, it usually happens because you've made a decision that that doesn't work in your life anymore, and you're going to have to find some new solutions. And no matter what stage of the spectrum you are on alcohol use disorder, no matter where you are on that spectrum, it is going to be a journey. You are going to have to learn new tools to cope. You're going to have to learn new ways to show up for yourself, to push through discomfort, to handle big emotions, to handle big insecurities. And you are building resilience every single time you do that. Like a type of resilience that most of the population does not have, especially if you dealt with addiction issues. Like if alcohol use was a dependency for you, or if you quit alcohol because of an addiction and you are still sober today and you are still on that journey today, you are like the top 2%. You are doing something that only 2% of people in the entire world can do. And you are not just getting sober, you're learning to move through this world with grace, with dignity, with respect for yourself and for other people. Like you're changing core beliefs and like stories that you told yourself your entire life about your childhood and rewriting it. That's insane. That is huge. Only 2% of the population stick to this journey and don't give up. The resilience that you build in recovery is honestly the most important thing you're ever going to do in your life. Business is going to throw you curveballs. Business is going to be ups and downs. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to show you a lot of things that you didn't even know you had to work on. I said it in the last episode, but I'll say it again. It is like therapy and self-development on crack. It really, really, really is. And you need that resilience in order to keep pushing through. There's going to be people online when you start showing up, when you start sharing your business, especially people that you know. Like strangers on the internet sometimes can be more kind than the people you actually know in real life. People are going to talk. They're going to judge you. They're going to be like, what the hell is she doing? And there's going to be a time when you first start your business where you don't have thousands of people commenting on your stuff, where you're showing up in a way as if you're successful already, but you don't feel successful, you know? That is a rite of passage. That is something we have to walk through. We don't just start our business and all of a sudden everything's amazing. Like it takes time to build, to grow, especially in the digital space that's very oversaturated. Like to carve your space on the internet in the business world, it takes time, energy, and effort. And the people that are closest to you are probably going to be the ones that are least likely to cheer you on, which is so strange and so backwards, but it's just what I've experienced and what I've seen people that I know experience. It's the strangers on the internet that you meet, that you connect with, that come on your podcast, that hire you for work to do on their business, that, you know, found you on somebody else's podcast show or on the internet and just were so moved by what you said. Like those are the people that are going to be your cheerleaders, your number one fans. And walking through the discomfort before you get to the place where these people find you, it takes resilience. It takes a shit ton of resilience. And that is something that is built in recovery. You have that tool the second you started your journey, the second you put down alcohol, you started building resilience. So I find that people in recovery, we're used to losing it all, to having nothing and having to rebuild our lives. Like that's something that we're kind of comfortable with, which makes us phenomenal entrepreneurs. Like some of the best, most talented people I know are in recovery. And I feel like addiction tries to burn the brightest lights. Like it tries to take down the brightest lights, the brightest minds, the most creative people. It wants those people silent. And recovery is where I see that brilliance just come to life. 3D right in front of my eyes. And I just love this community so much because we get to talk about that stuff, because we get to really dive into it and share authentically and from a really vulnerable place about like, the things that we didn't want to share, the things that we felt a lot of shame about that are now assets in our business. If you look at people like Gabby Bernstein, like Brene Brown, Glennon Doyle, Dax Shepard, there's just so many amazing, talented, creative people that didn't get to fully shine and put their story and themselves authentically into the world until after they burned their life down in addiction. And now look at them showing up and building these incredible platforms for people to share, like honestly and fully. The things that you put into the world after you've gone through such devastation truly brings purpose and meaning to all of the things that you went through and helps shift the narrative and change the world and how we talk about things. What I want you to do is build a resiliency toolkit. So when times get really tough in your business, what is it that you can pick up to help you move through it? They're very similar tools for me that they are in recovery. It's journaling, it's having a trusted mentor, it's movement in my body, meditation. I use prayer a lot in my business. I find helps with my overthinking, my stress, and my anxiety to just like turn to faith and be like, something out here has got me, creator has got me. And no matter what, I can't screw up the vision for my life. I just have to be willing to allow something bigger than me to move through me and work through me. I will be redirected if I'm going the wrong direction, and I'm going to trust that. So build your own toolkit. These tools should help you run your business without burnout. So when you are starting to feel that stress and overwhelm, what are the things that you can turn to so that you can push through those moments in your business? One more thing I like to do to help build resilience is to really create a model of what my ideal self looks like in my business, so that I have this kind of gold star to work towards. And I can sit down and be like, am I measuring up to my own core values as who I want to be as an entrepreneur? Is that where I'm at yet? And if the answer is no, how do I get there? What do I need to work on? Where am I at now? And it's not about beating myself up. It's about accepting the fact that this is where I'm at and I need to continually work on myself so that I can become that version of me that can hold all of this success and abundance that's coming my way. Okay, last topic. We're talking about values and alignment. Before I got sober, it was kind of like a race to the bottom between my values and my standards. And when I finally got sober, it was when my standards dropped lower than my values, when I was living in complete misalignment with who I wanted to be in this world. Like, this is what I believe is right. This is what I believe it is to be a good person. And my standards are down here for myself. There would be 3 weeks, 3 months, a year, or 2 years where I didn't drink and life got so good. And I still couldn't put those pieces together that maybe alcohol is the problem. I thought it was me is the problem because I keep drinking the alcohol. Even though it's doing shitty things in my life, I still want to find a way to make it fit in my life. And when I finally surrendered and said, you know what, I can't make this fit. It's not going to work. It's not in alignment with who I want to be in this world. And every time I drink, all of a sudden I'm this human being that I don't recognize. Once I stopped drinking and could finally see it clearly at what was going on, and started working on myself and healing, my values changed. They evolved. I really started like sinking into, what am I actually good at? What do I actually enjoy doing? What do I care about in this world? There is some like hobbies, interests, things that I was doing that I really didn't even enjoy. The only thing I enjoyed was the drinking that came with it. And I had constantly spent my life showing up for other people, trying to make them want to be around me and trying to get validation and trying to get recognition and appreciation and love and attention and to be adored. And like, that's what I wanted out of life, was people to want me. And half of these people I didn't even want in my life. I had to lose all of these like defects of character that were like eating me alive, but they were so comfortable because that's the only way I knew how to deal with things. I had to learn new tools. I had to change. And that came with a lot of grief. But doing that work ultimately brought me to where I am today, where I feel like I really get to know myself. I get to know and love myself and accept myself. Bringing that into business was huge, but it was a whole new journey because I saw that people pleaser, that person that just wants accreditation and validation and someone see me and want my services. And to do that, I was burning myself out and I was showing up for people that I didn't even want to work with. And I had to go through a whole other journey of figuring that out in business, like I did when I was first in recovery and had to figure that out with my friend group. And again, it was painful. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of insecurity. Honestly, just this last year, I've made so much space in my life because I don't want to ever be that person again. I don't want to say yes to things that aren't in alignment with the life that I want to build for me and for my family and the business that I want to build for my community. When you start working in alignment, your whole business changes. It starts to feel easy. Opportunities that come, you just intuitively know if this is a yes or a no. You start to show up in spaces in just the most beautiful ways, and you bring this light and this energy that just, it hits different. And I would love to say that I am there 100% of the time, but honestly, like just yesterday, I was feeling that insecurity, the imposter syndrome. Oh my gosh, am I in over my head? Can I do this? Like, I'm going to have to hire people. I'm going to have to, am I going to fill my calendar too much? Am I going to have to put down projects that I wanted to work on? All that stuff ran through my head. I didn't sleep well the night before. I had a 12-hour day. and I got home and I crashed and I was like, no, this isn't in alignment. I really need to look at my calendar and not book more than 2 clients a day to work with, to see, not book more than 3 days a week where I'm going to see clients and take opportunity calls. I need my sleep. I need to go to bed earlier. I need to get my phone out of my room again. I just sat down and I looked at it. And today I had so much relief when I woke up in the morning, and I had so much clarity on the boundaries that I want to create in my business and in my life so that I can feel that freedom and that peace that I've been feeling the last few months around it. And I can take on opportunities and I can expand my business and grow. It's pretty incredible. Like the feelings are still there. The things still come up. The problems still happen. I don't always move in alignment, but when I'm out of alignment, I feel it. I notice it. I'm aware of it. And I can look at my core values, my mission for my business, and say, does this even work? What do I have to say yes to? What do I have to say no to? Where can I ask for help? Who do I need in my life to help me navigate this? What mentors can I contact? Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool that I don't have to like sit there and just beat myself up or try and overperform when I don't want to? How amazing is it just to even be able to say, I don't want to overperform. I want a soft life. I want it to be easy. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be in survival mode in my business. That's not successful to me. If this episode resonated with you, please head over to SoberBizCo on Instagram and send me a DM. Tell me your takeaways. I want to hear from you. I want to know if this is a conversation that people wanted to hear, if you've been thirsty for it, if this is like lighting you up and you're like, finally, someone's talking about it. Let me know. If you have a desire to show up on a podcast and share your journey of sobriety and entrepreneurship, please reach out at SoberBizCo. Brooke at soberbizco.com is my email. Send me an email. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's get in touch. I want to hear from you. I want to know what tools you're using to get through these struggles to build resilience in your business. So I am thrilled to finally be consistently doing these episodes and sharing all of this knowledge with you. It actually helps me stay accountable as well. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And if you want to give us a 5-star review, it actually really helps get this show out. So I appreciate it.